Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're doing something non-VW related. Ford Transit, this thing here. We're going to do some maintenance, change the discs, change the wheel bearings, the rear axle seals leaking on this wheel here. We're going to get that done, and then we've got some mods coming up in the future. I've got some parts coming from the UK. Yeah, she's going to be a lot different looking to what you see right there. One of the last things since I've done the turbo update was new wheels. 18-inch rims. These ones are off the Ford Custom Transit. And man, what a difference. Going from a 215 tyre to a 245, the grip level is just unbelievable. It's night and day, the difference between what was used to be on there in the wet. You know, it was being this one's a 2.4 rear-wheel drive, and there's no weight in the back of it. It used to fishtail like you wouldn't believe when the turbo would kick in. So yeah, this has definitely been a nice upgrade, these bigger wheels on it. What I did do though is actually put a 50 series tyre, not a 45. I didn't want to change the rolling diameter of the wheel, so it's exactly the same as what it would have been stock. So the speedo's perfect, and you just got that little bit of a nicer, softer ride too. I didn't want to go too narrow with the tyre. So that's a 245 50 by 18, and it's the rims are actually load rated too for this vehicle. That's the other important thing, especially over here in Australia. So things we're going to do first is get rid of these leaking rear seals. This one here is leaking, the other side isn't, but I'm just going to change them both anyway. We're going to do new pads as well. Let's get this thing started. The first thing is obviously getting it jacked up and get the wheel off. So tools for the job. Obviously we're going to need a socket set, a rattle gun. We're going to need the jack and the parts which I've got up here. We've got some new front discs, which are big monsters. We've got our two sockets that we're going to need for front and back. That's 65 for the big one, 65mm, and 36. And then of course we've got new pads. We've got new wheel bearings. These are for the front. That's what the new wheel bearings look like. New wheel bearings. And obviously the hardware that comes with it. Got some bolts here. Then we've got the rear bearings, rear seals, and obviously the rear discs. We've got our T50 Torx bit to remove these bolts that are going to be on the rear hubs. We've got a seal removal kit. Oh, we've got some gasket paper to make up some new gaskets, because I'm not spending $60 on two gaskets for back here. That ain't happening. So that's it so far. So let's get cracking. We'll get these back ones done. Okay, so we've popped the wheel off. You can see the evidence of the leaking diff oil. And if we have a look around the back here, yeah, you can see there the whole thing's caked. So definitely the seals need to be replaced. One thing about driving these things in Australia, we don't have salt on the roads because obviously we don't have snow here. Well, we do have snow up in the mountains where I work, but they don't salt the roads, so we don't really have much of a rust problem. You can see under here, I mean, this thing's 2011, you know, nothing's rusty at all. That's just one of the bonuses, I suppose, living in a warmer climate. The next job we've got to do now is get these little Phillips head screws off, and I can already tell that they've been butchered from the previous person. So we might have a lot of joys and fun getting those out. I'm just going to heat them up straight off the bat. I'm not even going to try and remove them, because I can tell that one there's looks like that's clapped out already as well. That one there. So we'll just use the little torch here, put a bit of WD-40 on them, and hopefully we can get them out. Let's see how we go. Make sure we've got this on left, because we don't want to tighten them. Oh, that's out. I think that one's out too. Yeah, we've got two out. Yeah, we've got three out. Woohoo! Well, that was that was easier than expected. Like I said, not a lot of rust in these things, so that's a good thing. They're going to be hot. I don't want to touch them. Now, next job, we've got to go and get a container, because a whole lot of oil is going to come down here, and we don't want diff oil all over the concrete. Okay, I got myself a little container. It's probably not big enough, but that will do. Now what we want to do is separate this surface just here. to get the half shafts, axle shafts out. There's obviously a gasket behind that, and that's why you're going to have your diff oil pour out everywhere. Let's give it a little tappy and see whether we can dislodge it. I can see movement. There we go. Now we should get some, and there it goes. And that oil looks actually pretty good too. It's not too bad. I do not want to get this stuff on my clothes because it sucks. And as you know, if you do get it on your clothes, it's very, very difficult to get the smell out. So I'm going to go and put some gloves on to do this. Okay, let's get this thing out. Our next thing we've got to do is remove the caliper and the caliper bracket. So we'll grab a couple of spanners for that. Okay. Now we want to get ourselves a hook to hook the caliper, so we do not want to hang it. We can probably put it up on top of here, I think. There we go. Get out of the way. Hang him off the brake cable, off the handbrake cable. There we go. Beautiful. All right. Okay, let's get this guy off. Okay, gunky stuff. So there you go, there's your, check your sliders here. They're not bad. One's a bit funny. Clean those up. Okay, so I think we're pretty much done leaking, so we can remove you. Get you out of the way. Just give this a... Right, so the next job now will be to undo the 65mm nut. And we need a big breaker bar, which I have. So this is the breaker bar I've got, and the 65mm nut. Let's see how easy this comes off. I'll put you back here so you can see. All right, let's have a go at this one. Okay, let's see how we go here. There we go. One big nut. Okay, so I'm sure we'll just pull this straight off. Here we go. There's the bearing and the race and everything else. We'll have to just give this whole area a clean, but at least we've got it off. What we can do now is inspect these bearings, and I suspect these ones are clapped. They definitely don't look flash at all. Yeah, they've got heaps of wear on them. So they're definitely toast. That's that little flange in the middle. So we'll go and take this up onto the bench now, and we can start removing the disc off the carrier hub. Let's do it. Okay, so the next job we've got to do now is using the seal removal kit. Take the seal out, and we also have to take the ABS ring off. So we can just pop this thing in like this, and we should be able to just pry it out. I've popped him in the vise. Obviously we're not using these discs, so I can do that. And let's see if we can just get it out this way instead. Whee! Now, I'll try and get this ABS ring off. Ta-da! Alright, one ABS ring off. Now, we've got to get that rest of that seal out because it's still trapped in there, isn't it? Ta-da! And out comes the bearing as well. So, yeah, pretty much all this stuff's junk. Those bearings have got some pretty bad score marks in the rollers, and that was that humming noise I was getting. So that can all go in the bin. So the next job we're going to do is just buzz out all these T50 torque bolts. I'm just going to put a bit of heat around them because I never trust, you know, these things breaking or not. So I'll put a little bit of heat around all of them and then buzz them out with a rattle gun. All right, let's just buzz these out. Righto, next step. Pull this apart and then we can give it a good clean and get ready to put the new disc back on again. Okay, so what we do need to do before we start reassembling is we've got to pull the bearing races out, which is that little part there and then the part further on the other side. And you can see they give us a little window there to use our little punches just to punch that race out. There's one on that side too, just down in there. So then we can punch the two races out. Obviously with the new bearing, the races already, we've got to press that all back in the one go. So let's press these races out, see how we go with that. Righto, so I gave this thing a sandblast and I just put a bit of blue paint on. I just didn't want that section to start rusting up. Also, I have cleaned the bolts up, just got them all clean, so we can put them back in. Obviously, we've got to use some blue Loctite because they did have Loctite from the factory, which is fine. And also, I gave the ABS ring a good clean as well. So, next job now is going to be to put the new bearing races in. We've got to put one on this side of the flange and one on the other, and we'll just press those in. Let's get that part done. So you can see there I've just got the race level. I've pushed it in a little bit just using a block of steel there, and then now I can use the old race, put that on top like so, and then we can press it. We can actually use the press. If you haven't got a press, obviously you can just, you know, use this, put that on top and bang it in. I do have a press, so we will use it, and it'll probably just make the job a little bit easier. Okay, so you can see here I've just got the race just tapped in very lightly, nice and level, and then I've got the old race which I have just linished a little bit off the surface so that it won't get stuck in there as well. We're going to put that on top, and we can put a couple of packers on here as well, like so, and a little spacer, and we should be good to go. Yep. And take the packers out. This should come out, and it does. Now you can see there that this still needs to go further in because it's got to get down to that little step there. So I think what happened here, this wasn't quite centered. So we just got to get him centered a little bit better. Okay, so it just happened to be lucky that the 65mm socket actually fits on there. Perfect. So we'll just put him on there like so, and we should be able to push him the rest of the way home. Alright, so I've taken off the old gasket. I'm going to use that as a template. I've got some gasket paper here, and I'll just use the scissors and cut out a new one. In the meantime, we can actually put the new rotor on and put the bolts in and then put on the ABS ring. So let's get that done. Rotor goes on in this direction, like so. Yeah, a little bit of Loctite on these threads. Loctite on that one. Alright, I'll just tighten these up. Next is the ABS ring. We can pop him back on. Just give him a tap with a hammer. And I think that is good to go. Next we've got the, we'll clean all that out properly. And we've got to put in our bearing and then our seal. That's the new seal. And they're supposed to be self-sealing. They've got a special goop on them. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I don't reckon they'll last too long. They look like they're cheapies. Anyway, that goes on like that and then gets pressed in. Okay, so next job is putting some high temp bearing grease on the bearings, popping this front one in, putting the oil seal on here, like so. And then we're ready to go and remount it onto the axle. So let's get crack-a-lacking on that one. The messy job. Grease, grease, grease. Making sure we get it nice and packed full of crap. And put a bit in here as well. Goes on. I'm going to tap him home. Now that's ready to go back onto the van. Let's come and set you guys up over here. Oh look, red caliper, you know, because you want 40 more horsepower, right? Oh, there's something about having red on here. Now one little job I do have to do is, you can see there we've got a frayed handbrake cable, and it's hanging on by 2 strands, so I've got to go and get another one. I'm going to actually try and TIG it back together, see if that works. Probably won't, but yeah, I'll pull that cable out anyway. Just have to pop that over there for now. Now everything's nice and clean here. The thread's clean, the back here is clean, so we're good to go. All right, let's get this disc on. Now this was also the other tool that I didn't film, but I'll do the other side to show you. That's the little air compressed air ram to pull your caliper piston back into position, and that's a little kit that I bought. Worked actually really well. I was happy with that. Next thing we've got to do is put the axle in and put the gasket on here. I'm going to actually put some RTV special silicone on both sides of the gasket, just in case, because we don't want it to leak. So let's go and grab that and we'll get that ready to go, which is this one. Gear Oil Specialised Formula Gasket Maker. See, I'm just going to put a little bit on both sides of our paper gasket that we've got here. That's the one that we made, so I was not going to spend $60 on 2 paper gaskets, which is utterly crazy, right? Okay, so next is the caliper housing brackety part, and I've painted that red too, just because I can. And there we go. Let's bolt this sucker in. Okay, so that's one of the new pads in position. We've just put that in, put the back one in, and then we can slot the caliper on. Our little clip, like so. And we can get this guy hopefully slotted where it needs to go. One there. And it's got to get the bottom one in. Is that right? Okay, and the job is done. I forgot to video putting the wheel back on, but you guys get the gist. You can see inside there. Now, nice. It's funny, you can see a little bit of blue, but that's okay. And you got the caliper back there. You can see from underneath. There we go. That's it all underneath, all done. I did also manage to repair the handbrake cable too. I just used the welder and welded all the little frayed sections back together. So happy days with that. So that is the rears done. Next job will be getting the fronts done. We're going to do that on a separate day. That does conclude the rear disc bearings and oil seal change. All right. So we will catch you in the next video when we do the fronts. See you in the next one.